Hey, I'm Jay Skinner, and this is the pre-show of the Buyers and Sellers Show. We're real glad to have you here today. It's going to be about a lot of things, but the whole main idea, which you read about, is customer service. So let's give everybody a chance to get on, and I hope you're fascinated by this song. And we're live. And I'm Jay Skinner. This is the Buyers and Sellers Show. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming. This has been the pre-show. And the pre-show is all about giving you a chance to get on and people see we're here. And I get started talking around 10:35. So thanks for being here. And I'm glad you dropped in. So one of the things is that song that I played earlier, there's called Fascination. And that's an old song. It's a beautiful one. And it got me thinking about howtofascinate.com, and my friend Sally Hogshead, who is a legend in the area of personality assessments and coaching. And some of you probably know her. And I would just tell you that you should get to know her. Her name is Sally Hogshead. Look up howtofascinate.com. Of course, you can catch me at thejskinner.com. That's my website, and that's one place to find me. You go down to the bottom, you can click on all the Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube and find me there too, and I would love to connect with you. So this is called the Buyers and Sellers Show, and we're going to talk about customer service. One of the things that I remember people saying is you just want people to be absolutely delighted with what you're doing and what you're selling, what you're providing them. And I couldn't agree more. I think that's a good way of thinking about that. And one of the things that I try to do with people, if you get something in mind and we talk about it here perhaps, or, wherever, if you want to get in touch with me, just go to wjayskinner@aol.com. That's right. I'm probably their last customer, but that's a wjayskinner@aol.com, or you can go to my website and catch me. I'm very accessible, and I think you'll like that. One of the keystones to this program is two rules. The silver rule, which is do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. We call it the buyers and sellers show because I believe we're all buyers and sellers all the time in different situations. So understanding both sides of the transaction and where you are at any given time, and then having some rules like rules of life for this are very, very important. So the silver rule, what is it? Do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. And then the green rule is do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. Think about that one. Do for yourself what you're asking others to pay you to do for them. So anyway, you may know that this past week I was in Philadelphia with uh, some a bunch of new friends and an old friend, which is Jeffrey Gitomer, and he told me that he was going to be teaching and speaking at this big conference that was hosted by the Selling Power organization, the Selling Power magazine, and it's like he encouraged me to come. And I said, of course, I'll be there. That'll be great. And I was there. And boy, was I glad I went because I met a lot of new people. There were people from all over the world, literally. I mean, there were guys from Israel there. They're like some of the smartest people in the world. And there were people from the United States and Canada and everywhere. And when I say they're from Israel, they flew in just for this thing. I mean, it was the real deal. And that was pretty cool. So I did a live, but I didn't have the bandwidth, literally the bandwidth to broadcast live from there. And so I got a little clip here. It's worth 2 minutes, and I want to encourage you to take a look at that. And let's see if I've got some people. Let's see. Sharon Skinner says, good morning, day 987. Welcome, Sharon. Glad you're here. Sharon's business, and you can find her at the Sharon Hoffmeister, thesharonhoffmeister.com. She is doing lives every day and has been for the last 987 days. And now she's just letting you know, how cool is this? That this is day 987 and she's headed towards 1,000. I'm sure there's going to be a big celebration. And then Ron said, good morning, Jay. AOL account means you're an early adopter. Yeah, you got it. I was. I've been doing the computer and internet and all that stuff since since it was all invented. And then Sharon laughs. She says she's got an AOL too. Well, I think it's great. So anyway, let's give you just a little bit of a look of what that sales conference was like in Philadelphia. And so if you want to consider it, I think they've got one coming up in Vegas. They're doing some more. The lives are coming alive and good stuff is happening. So let's just look at that together. And you can see what I got to do when I was in Philly. Here we go. And get to the right clip. Boom. And we're live. Hey, I'm Jay Skinner, and this is a surprise live kind of the Buyers and Sellers Show. And I'm at the sales conference, Sales 3.0 in Philadelphia. And there I am with my friend Jeffrey Gitomer is talking to people. Jeffrey's here. And we're having a blast. There's another guy there, Mark the Sales Hunter. And what a crowd here. And what I'm doing is I'm actually broadcasting from here or recording this thing on a broadcast after I have some bandwidth. This is lunchtime. There's lots of people here. What a thing. Sales 3.0 conference. And Gerhardt, the owner of the Selling Power magazine, have you heard about that? Of course you know that. They're the ones sponsoring this. What an event. 2 days worth of powerful speakers and information that you can't get anywhere else. So anyway, I just wanted you all to see what we were doing here. It's like, hello, I just want you to know we're doing a surprise live. And there we are. Good to see you, Jeffrey. Everybody, glad you're here.
You should put this in the middle of the book.
Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for taking a look at this. Happy to see you. If you get a chance to go to one of these conferences, you will be glad you did. Anyway, I'm Jay Skinner. Oh, there's Joe Sabatino.
Oh
This
my
is
gosh, the
Surprise
famous
Live.
Jay. Oh my gosh. If you're going to do anything, before you do anything, this is the guy you need to speak to. That's it.
Thank you, Joe.
That's it.
Hey, nice to meet you. As you guys look, Joe's a movie star, man. He lives in Hollywood.
Oh my gosh.
If you recognize him, it's because he's been on like a billion TV shows and movies. And I'm so proud to know you, Joe.
Well, and I as well to you. All right? All right, keep an eye on this guy. Follow him. He knows what he's doing.
Okay, thank you. See you later. Anyway, what a great show. Cool people here. And if you get a chance to go to one of these conferences, you'll be glad you did. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye now. How about that? How about that? That Joe Sabatino is something else. And I would encourage you to check him out. This is his LinkedIn page. He's the real deal. And it's like, who wouldn't want a movie star with about 200 movies and shows under his belt? And if you get on and you look him up and stuff, you'll see, you recognize who he is and the parts that he's played and what he's done. He's a movie star and a producer and everything else. And there's his LinkedIn page, and you can get to know him and you can say, hey, Jay sent me. But wasn't that nice of him? When we were there together, we really had a chance to get to know each other. And that was just extremely cool. Anyway, I'll click that, and want to go back to what we talked about here, which was recommendations. And how about that? Joe Sabatino was recommending me right there immediately in the course of the show after we'd spent a couple days together. And that was pretty nice. That was real nice. Then this first part of customer service, what does that word mean to you? Join in. I'm wanting you to comment. Please be thinking about customer service. If you want to either put down what have you heard or seen or experienced in the world of customer service that you think is just like crazy and terrible, that would be great. If you got some comments about how to do it better or how people should be doing when they're customer service people, that would be great. But I very much would appreciate your input in this show. That's how we're going to get the most out of it. And I want to check my texts too, because I may actually have something that would help in that area as well. So think about this. If you have a business, don't you want your customers to just be absolutely delighted? Of course you do. And a big part of it is always that customer service, that frontline group of people that people either walk into your business and see, or they encounter on the telephone, or there's emails and things like that. It's all a huge part of it. And in the end, you're hoping that they'll deliver something like what I got after doing some work, totally unexpected. Check this out.
Jay,
thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your incredible help. You were a gem of a human being at this event. And not only I and Jen, but everyone appreciated it.
yeah. And we appreciate all the work you did leading up to the event to try and help us promote it, and just your genuine level of caring and wanting it to be a success is so appreciated. You are appreciated. You did a great job behind the camera, live streaming for everyone, and we're grateful to have you in our circle.
So this will not be the only time, but it was one of the best times. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Wow. Thank you, Jennifer and Jeffrey. I did some work for them, and this came in, and I just had to share it with you because this is the sort of thing that you want with your business. And we talk about referrals and people wanting to talk about you and what you do, and I'm really thankful. Like Jennifer and Jeffrey, and then a lot of other people that are part of that organization have become great friends, and they appreciate the work that I do, and so I get a chance to do some work for them, and that's pretty cool. And that's going to bring me to this one right here, is that Jeffrey wrote a book, like one of his 16 or 17 bestsellers. In this case, it's this one. It says, "Customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless." Okay. And it's a great book. And you say, well, it looks kind of thick. I'll tell you what, in his inimitable way, it's done with some graphics and a lot of self-evaluation tests about how to be good, and using secret words and phrases that will help as it relates to customer service. And I recommend this to you heartily, and I think you should get online and go to Gitomer.com and order 10 or 12 of these or more, and get them to your organization. And maybe you do something like, I don't know if you remember what we did back when 7 Habits of Highly Effective People came out years ago from Stephen Covey. Used to have like lunch reading clubs with the group, and we'd pick the book and we'd do a chapter a week or something like that and have discussion. Lots of ways to do something like that. I'm just saying this would be really smart to get with your customer service people and really everyone in your group to understand that perspective. Because in the end, the training needs to be how to think, not just what to think or say. When someone says, "What were you thinking?" It's offensive kind of, but it's also a reasonable inquiry, because someone will say that to you in the course of an event or situation where maybe you said something and it's like, it didn't turn out the way we wanted. What were you thinking? Well, that can start some fires, but at the same time, that's the root of it. It's like what you were thinking and then what came out of your mouth as a result. Some people say, well, sometimes I talk ahead of my thinking. It's like, okay, well, I'm guilty too. But it could be I wasn't thinking anything. And that could be part of it too. So right now, if you're listening, if you want to join in here, I would love for you to type in either potential good answers or ways of handling a complaint or a comment or something like that from a customer, or something that you heard from a customer service person that just drove you nuts and inflamed the situation, and you would say, what were they thinking? If you're on the receiving end of complaints, like a customer service person, I'm very interested to know, how are you handling these conversations? What kind of problems are you having? Look at the results. I mean, in the world of 5 stars and 10 stars and everything, pretty much we're at 5 stars these days. Um, are you and your team always getting 5 stars for yourself or for the company? And if you're not, why not? And is the genesis sometimes what's going on in the customer service calls? And what you hear out there, what do you think needs to change? Let's identify some of these problems together, and I would love to see your comments right here so that I can address what's interesting to you personally. But we've got enough to talk about. And remember, this is just part 1. And no, I'm not going to go through every bit of this book, although it's organized in such a beautiful way. It's tempting. Part 2, we're going to get deeper into it. And if we need a part 3, we're going to. This becomes a very nice outline for, I say, what were you thinking? Well, how about what to think? and how to think, and then some very specific things to say and put in the top of your mind. Now, I'm a big believer in scripts, but how many times, and just think about this, how many times have you talked to someone in customer service and you'd say whatever you were calling for, and they would reply back to you like they were reading it? It's almost like, okay, they're just like this. Okay, customer said this. So they find it on their sheet and then they read it back to you. Mr. Smith, that's a valid concern. I hope you understand that we do our best to try to get this stuff done. Can you please tell me more? What were you thinking? Well, I think it's good to have a script. But what I do think is that it just needs to be a couple key phrases, something to get you started. Remember, on this book I was just now showing you, customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless. And just what does that mean? It means that we want them to be satisfied. We need 5 stars. That's good. However, what's most important is that the customer keeps coming back. And I can say that I have, over the years, had customers that wouldn't go and give me an A+ on everything by any means, but we're still friends. We talk and they still buy from me, and that we still work together. But they can sit down and say, Jay, you need to fix this or fix that. And so they're not what I would say totally satisfied with me 100%, but they're loyal. And most of all, I think what they do is they respect how I approach things. And John Godwin says, this is great. Do you want your wife to be satisfied or loyal? Yeah, I get it. That's good. And he's sharing that. That's Jeffrey Gitomer's saying when he's putting this into perspective. It's like, or, well, sometimes I'll say, Mrs. Smith, let's just, to help you understand this, between satisfaction and loyalty, which would you prefer your husband to be, satisfied or loyal? Yeah. And it's like, trying to put that idea into perspective, that's really what we're shooting for. Thank you for sharing that. So jump in there and give me some ideas of things that you've either heard or responses that you think make tons of sense when it comes to people handling customer service complaints. And then we're going to talk about what are they thinking and what people might be thinking. And I'm going to give you some examples. I've got a couple here that came in, and these come under the category of handling these complaints and kind of what don't to say. Don't to say, okay? How about the customer service says, I am so busy. Back to you after you're calling with a complaint or a problem. Or what about, well, I'll try, when we're talking about fixing something. Or this, how about this one? I'll see what they say. Like they is like the boss or the company or whatever, and the customer service person is not part of it. It's like a third party blaming them. I was like, I don't know, I'll see what they say. What are some other things that you hear? Now, if you're listening to this and you think, well, what's wrong with that? You really need to keep listening, please. Okay, stay with me, because we need to talk about what's wrong with that. Is that when someone calls up or they send you an email and something didn't go right with their purchase or their engagement with your company, well, how hard is it to get you to call someone up and say something or do something or try to make it right? I mean, already making that phone call and trying to get in touch with something shows that they really want it to work somehow, probably. Or the the problem is just so great that they can't stand it. They've got to tell you and try to get it fixed. And so when the problem comes to you, what are you thinking? What should you be thinking? Any comments? I got one. You should be thinking, we need to resolve this. We want to create a both win type situation so that the customer's not only satisfied, but they're loyal, that they want to come back. How many times have you said, I worked with this company, we had a problem, and they handled it so well, it gave me great confidence in them that I'm always going to stay with them because I know they'll take care of me. That's what you want. So when your customer service department is giving answers to people that call in or writing answers to people that they call in, when the customer service department is answering in such a way that the person's not sure if it's ever going to be fixed or that they really even care, that's not the desired results. And in today's world of stars and ratings, I mean, do you know how hard it is to get a bad review off? And how many people check those reviews before they buy? Lots. And they're going to go to that one that's 1 star or 0 that says, I called customer service and they treated me with disrespect and they didn't act like they were interested. And I had to fight and fight and fight and fight to get it resolved. And they get 1 star or none. Oh my gosh. People will just go on to the next supplier. They go on to the next person. They don't even want to take a chance of having that kind of interaction. So, how are you running your business? Now, I will tell you that from the complainer side, if you're the complainer, Buyers and Sellers Show, please be respectful and thoughtful and kind and try not to don't get mad. Don't expect that there's going to be a problem immediately. Anticipate things are going to go great until you're proven differently. In other words, don't borrow a shovel. Here's a quick story. When you're starting a conversation with someone, it's like, are you expecting something good or bad to happen? And the story goes like this. A guy was wanting to use his shovel to dig a hole right there at his house. And he realized he didn't have a shovel any longer. It was like broken. And he thought, oh, I just need to dig 1 hole. Maybe I can borrow it from Joe down the street. And so he got to thinking, okay, great. And then he started walking towards Joe's. And as he was walking, he thought, last time Joe drove by, he didn't even wave. I saw his wife the other day and I don't know, she had a scowl on her face. She didn't even look up. I'm not sure they even like me. Went on the other way. It's like, get a little bit farther down the road, headed for Joe's. And he says, I saw Joe the other day and I tried to get his attention. He didn't want to even stop. I don't know if he's got some sort of a problem with me or what. I mean, I'm not sure. It's like, I'm not sure Joe is a fan. I won't borrow a shovel. I know he's got a good shovel. Go a little bit farther and you say, the other day, he went by and didn't wave, nothing. I was out there in the yard. It's like, what a jerk. I mean, he probably just doesn't like me. So I knock on the door. Boom, 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 boom. Joe answers. And what does the guy say? Joe, you can keep your darn shovel. I didn't need it anyway. Turned around, walked away. In other words, you made the problem in your mind before anything really happened. So don't borrow a shovel when you're starting these conversations with a complaint or a problem or something that you need. On the other hand, what were you thinking, customer service agent? Why didn't you be thinking this? I want to do whatever is best for everybody involved and ultimately have the customer satisfied that things went well and that we took care of it for them and that they're going to want to come back and they love us and they think the way it was handled was beautiful. Now, if you are in a situation with your company where you doubt that you can work like that with your customer, or you think that somehow you need to answer questions in a defensive way when a customer calls with a complaint because you think that's the right thing to do for your company, stop. You need to have a conversation with the owner of your company or your boss or whoever's in charge and get some things clarified, because many times there is misunderstanding and you're thinking, oh, they'll be so proud of me. I'm saving our company $2 and I'm going to see if I can get over this without giving anything away. No, you probably don't understand. So you're thinking get defensive and fight, and the customer's got a complaint, and you're going to try to win the complaint or win the argument. And I'm telling you what, in most of these businesses, in fact, I might say all of them, considering the cost of new customer acquisition, how to get a customer, and how to be successful, if you have to give something up that you're not really sure you needed to give up, or it's not necessarily your fault, but it kind of makes sense because that's really all that's what's going to satisfy the customer. You don't need to push back. You don't need to fight it. What you need to do is just give and be helpful and make sure that the customer knows you're there to make it happen. So the customer says, blah, 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 blah. Here's my problem. Don't say, I'm sorry. Why don't you empathize and say, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I can't believe it. We're going to get this figured out. Together, we'll fix this. Okay, super. So, and then you go to work to get it taken care of. And you are the company and you're not putting any delay into it. It's not like, well, I'm going to have to get off the phone and get back with you and call you back because I'm not sure my company is nice enough to take care of this. If you have to get some authorizations to do some things, do your best to just hold on a second. I need to get a couple of little authorizations, should be no problem. And away we go. The less that you have to do in terms of getting permission, and the more that you can do in terms of just proactively getting things taken care of, signals the customer that you are with a great company and they are too. So this is what you don't want to have happening with your customer base. How about that revolving door? Getting those new customers is very valuable. And I want you to work with your own company, make sure there's all agreement and understanding that you can do whatever it takes in order to make sure that that problem is resolved with that customer. You may not understand how valuable that customer is. And you may be thinking that if you save the company $100 or $500 or $1,000 on a complaint, that you've done some wonderful thing, when simultaneously you've lost a customer who will never come back, that's lost confidence in you. So please make sure by interviewing your own company and the boss and the owner and the people there, you understand how valuable customers are and how they are willing to take care of business. You know, one of the things that gets me is how many times I call and say, well, I can't handle that. You'll need to talk to the owner or somebody. Okay. You know, it's like whatever it takes, make a conference call now. Move it on fast. But consider this, owners. Empower your customer service people to resolve problems now and to let people know they are going to be resolved and good things are going to be happening. I want to get into that call when I'm the complainer and know that they've got this and everything's going to be all right. Don't you want that? So when they say, what were you thinking? You say, I was thinking we're going to take care of this customer and they're going to come back. Think that with me. Thank you very much for being on this Buyers and Sellers show. Time's up. Part 2's coming. Remember that book. Remember how to think. When the customer calls, empathize. Don't say, I'm sorry. If you have to apologize, of course you can say, I apologize. We're going to get this taken care of. Let's put a plan in action right now. And if there's anything standing in your way from getting that taken care of, then get it fixed right now, not while the customer's on the line, but let's get it fixed in advance today. I can only imagine if you've been making answers like I talked about earlier, it's just because you didn't know that it was okay to give a little, maybe lose the battle to win the war. What do you think? Thank you very much for coming. This has been the Buyers and Sellers Show. I'm Jay Skinner. See you next Friday, 10:35. And that will probably be part 2 of this customer service conversation. Play out. How about some blues and boogie woogie? Here we go. See you next week. Thanks for coming. Bye now.